Hi, I'm Sean Lean. I'm the President of the Legislative Council in the Victorian Parliament, and I'm here to give an update of this week's sitting. At the start of this week's Parliament in the Upper House, on behalf of all the MPs and the staff, I gave a heartfelt condolence to the people of Papua New Guinea who have suffered that horrible, tragic landslide, which has sadly taken many lives. As far as pieces of legislation, this week was all about finances and budget. The budget bills were debated. There's two pieces of budget legislation every year that need to be passed through the Parliament, and they're the appropriation bill. There's a taxation bill as well. What this particular part of the Parliament does is debate those two at the same time because they're very similar. We do this on a number of occasions during a Parliament term. The taxation bill was debated separately. Those pieces of legislation actually travelled through the chamber, therefore they will go to the Governor for royal assent. There was a separate bill to the budget, but similar, the Financial Management Amendment for gender responsive budgeting, and that particular piece of legislation travelled through this chamber as well and will be sent for royal assent. None of the bills were amended this week, but there was committee stages where members of the chamber get to ask questions about anything that's contained in the legislation to a minister. So the other thing that happened this week, on Wednesday evening, what we do when there's a vacancy in the Senate is the legislative councillors kind of all pack into the Legislative Assembly, and we elected a new senator. There was a vacancy in the Senate for Victoria, so Lisa Darmadon was elected unanimously by all of the members of the Victorian Parliament, and we really wish Lisa well in her important role into the future. A bit unique, I want to talk about an event that happened 2 sitting weeks ago. I didn't give an update of that sitting because it was only a short week. Pakenham MP Emma Voolan addressed the Parliament about her motor neuron disease. Unfortunately, she's recently been diagnosed with this terrible disease, and when she gave that address to the Assembly, Neil Danaher, obviously an AFL legend, was in the gallery to hear her speech, and obviously he's a great champion to trying to find a cure. All the members donned the blue beanies, and this was also to acknowledge the 10-year anniversary of the Big Freeze, which is a big fundraiser during our AFL game to try and find a cure for this horrible disease. And I've got to say, it was fantastic work from Emma. Next sitting week, the following bills will be possibly passed through this part of the Parliament: the Local Government Amendment, Governance Integrity Bill, Sustainable Forest Repeal Bill, and Victorian Responsible Gambling Foundation Repeal and Advisory Council Bill. And I will give an update of how those pieces of legislation travel through this House and other activities of the sitting week, which is in a couple of weeks.